What's up? What's up? It's St. Patrick's Day, so March 17th, 2021. How about that?
Just a couple of Irish guys hanging out doing a podcast.
Yep.
That works.
Irish bros.
Yep. The two least Irish guys ever.
Here with us today is Mr. Kris Larson. How you doing, friend?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Good. Could we just pull it up just a little bit
Oh,
closer?
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
I don't know what this is like virtual. It's weird.
Right?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just keep telling me what to do.
Yeah, all good, man. So you are the man responsible for a lot of different things here in town. But before we get into it, I feel like we have like a lot of mutual interests, and maybe we got like a lot of the same starts with how we got to where we were.
Probably very true, and I know some of that,
Yeah.
but not all of that. So this would be good for those reasons too.
Yeah, for sure. So when are you from like Oshkosh?
I was born and raised in Oshkosh. Yes.
Okay.
You too.
I moved here in '89 with my parents.
Okay.
I was born in Indiana,
Okay.
Logansport, small town. But
You were here.
but basically,
Yeah, for the most part.
I'm Oshkosh.
Yep.
All the way.
Same.
Yeah, nice. When you got into the service industry, like what was your first gig?
Chronologically, I don't recall for sure. It was Fratello's really early on, so there's a touching point.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I dock boats and bus tables, so I'm that quintessential restaurant story where I started out as a bus boy.
Yeah.
And then kind of worked there forever.
Yeah.
I worked at, this is New Moon. Remember when there was a Blue Moon in Neenah?
Yes.
I worked there also.
Okay.
And then I worked at a coffee shop all through college and came back here and worked in restaurants. And it was just kind of that thing where I've always kind of worked in that industry.
Yeah.
And it gets in your blood. You know it gets in your blood. It's a thing.
Yeah. That's exactly how I got started too. Was over with the Suplias over at Fratello's. Were you there right when they opened? Or
I think it was year 1 or year 2. It was really close.
Yeah.
I want to say I was 15. You know what I mean?
Okay.
15, 16 years old in that neighborhood.
Yep.
And it was no experience at all. So I was docking boats first. I was the guy you'd throw the line and then hopefully get a tip, which people did. It was great. Thank you.
I didn't do the docking of the boats and stuff, but I had a friend that did that, Schaefer. But if you hustled,
It was a fun job.
you could make some good coin.
You learn how to tie up a boat, and people appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think they do it anymore. Beckett's used to do it too, and we stopped also. So I'm sorry, the service is gone.
Maybe a third party.
So if anybody's listening and wants to have a boat docking business, what time is it? I can't talk. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Sidetrack this a little bit. Like we could almost do a whole separate segment.
We're going to get sidetracked a lot here.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But of all the people that had to start with the Suplias or something and branched off and has done like something on their own or is a part of something else that's pretty cool.
It's a huge tribute to them. I mean, that is a big deal to have a restaurant that big that survives for that long and does as many things as they've done for as long as they've done it. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
So there's a huge tribute there. And you're right. There's hundreds of people who
Yeah.
are still probably here who have that in their
for
DNA
sure.
to a degree. It's great.
Yep. So high school, you went
Oshkosh
to
North.
Oshkosh North.
Yep.
Nice. I was over at Lourdes.
Lourdes, that's right. Basketball.
Yep.
I just saw all that stuff.
Yep. State champs.
Congrats.
What up?
We've done that before. Don't brag.
Just a couple of years earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then off to college, you went to
Eau Claire.
Eau Claire. What's the mascot over there?
The blue gold. Figure out what
Blue
that
gold.
is.
What is it?
Nobody knows.
Nobody
I think
knows?
it's a flower.
Okay.
It's a tough mascot.
Yeah. I'd
Scary.
say.
You?
Here. I
Okay.
stayed here in town.
You didn't know I was interviewing you, actually, right? I have
No,
my
that's
own,
fine.
I'm reading
I
my
think-
agenda here. And
I think people should be asking
Okay,
me
good.
questions
Perfect.
too, So
Yes, Eau Claire for me.
yeah, nice. You lived out there then the entire time, and
I was there.
or did you like come back in the summers?
I came back in the summers for the first few and then managed a coffee shop up there for a long time.
Neat.
So that was fun, but I wound up going and then staying there for 8 years, I think. So I was there for
Okay.
a long time.
Nice.
Mhm.
So when did you get Beckett's was your first like business that you started here?
Correct, yep.
in Oshkosh,
Yep.
right? How many years ago has that been already?
It's 13 years.
13?
Can you imagine?
Nice.
It's a long time.
That's crazy. I remember getting super excited that you were opening up a restaurant.
Thank you.
Or just hearing that restaurant was coming downtown.
Yep.
And I think you have done a wonderful job of like spearheading a lot of change down here, because there wasn't really anything down here other than the Roxy. Roxy's been a staple here.
Yep. No, it's crazy. I was thinking about that last night, and there's no credit to me or to Beckets necessarily, but that was just the right time for lots of stuff. So we were looking here and in Madison when we were looking at locations, because I was living in Madison before I moved back here.
Oh, sure.
So we skipped. I went from Eau Claire to Madison, and then worked in this industry in a way in Madison for a long time, and then came back here to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Riverwalk was still pending, and we knew it was coming, which is part of the reason we chose the location we did.
Yeah.
And it was just, there's no credit to me or to the restaurant, I don't think, with what it is. But it's remarkable when you think of how many restaurants there are downtown now compared to 14 years ago.
Yeah, I can't remember what anniversary it was that you posted on your Beckets.
And that was a list of like 50 new businesses that have been within a 4-mile radius of where we are. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a dining scene now, legitimately, whether people like it or not, it really is.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's great ones. I mean, Ruby, 430, Gardina's, Dockside, Green's, none of that was here.
Yeah.
And there are very few municipalities, I think, that can say that they've had that kind of growth in this industry, in this small a neighborhood, in that short a period of time. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. So can you tell us a little bit about like the idea of Beckett's and how you came to that name, and I guess the style of cuisine and stuff that you guys wanted to put forth?
For sure. The name is the easy one. We're named after the architect who designed that building. It was for people who don't know, I think lots of people here know, but that was the second closed shopping mall in the country, opened in 1970. It was designed by an architect named Welton Beckett, excuse me, who at the time had the largest firm in the world. So guy from Oshkosh named Ted Leahy, who was a wonderful developer, wonderful man.
Okay.
He wanted the mall was his project, and he wanted to make sure he had the best architect in the world to come here, and that's how he hired Welton Beckett. Yeah. And we just think that's an underappreciated fact. We think it's a cool building. I think it's a cool building. Yeah. Not everybody agrees that it's beautiful, but I think it's a beautiful looking building.
No, I think all the things that you've done inside it was awesome. Yep. From the lighting, and even reusing the benches and stuff from the mall.
Is a good look, and those were all designed by that architect. So the naming, we didn't know what it was going to be called for a long time, and that just came to it as we started looking at the history of it. Yeah. And it's a good name for a thing. So it's nice to have a little backstory, nice to have a story to tell about it, and that's why it is named what it is. Yeah. And more people, I mean, you're going to maybe talk more about Welton Beckett in a minute. Nobody's ever, I promise you, nobody ever sat in this building and talked about Welton Beckett before there was a restaurant named after him. But it's been pretty neat, and there's still a group of people who really like the man's work. And in fact, the guy who runs the Welton Beckett Appreciation Society comes here from LA a couple times.
No kidding.
To visit because he wanted to see the building, and they love the fact that there's a restaurant named after the guy. So it's a cool story.
Yeah, perfect. In our last segment, we'll get into it a little bit more in the Manila beat, because he had a building, a huge building in Manila. So
I believe it. Yeah, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
What was the rest of your question? It's modern American food. Okay. We make 98% of that restaurant in-house, so it's all from scratch, which is good, as it should be. Yeah. Focus is sort of on seafood because we're on the water, and steaks because we own a meat market at a grocery store. Yeah. But it's more and more, and we talk about this all the time, we can talk about it more, but more and more progressive on the food side lately, which is great. Sure. Because we're all doing that, as we should be.
No, I think it's great what you guys do over there, because you have your set menu, and people do like their go-tos. Yep. But I have been noticing that you guys have been doing a little bit more of Friday food picks, like weekend specials and stuff. So
it gets weirder and weirder, and that's fun. Yeah. And that's it. And just so everybody's clear, that's not me. I can't cook. I don't cook. I have an unbelievable kitchen staff who's very creative, and we let them do what they want to do. So that's all the credit to them. Yeah, and you snap the pictures, right? I learned from you.
Yeah, no, I learned from you.
I think you're the photography mentor here. I don't know.
No. The one special you had last weekend really caught my eye.
Did you eat it or no?
No,
I didn't get it. It's gone now.
I got here and was gonna I'll place an order, and then we got busy, and then it was getting towards the end of the night, and I called it in we're out, but we're using Snapper just to substitute it.
That's not the same. Nope, you wanted the mackerel.
Next
I'm sorry.
time. Yeah,
it's not every day you find mackerel.
No. So that was like, boom, sold. Next time I'll be on it.
I'm glad it worked. I'm glad you taught me how to take pictures. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. What else is awesome about Beckett's? You guys, you are the new home, or newer home for, they've been there for a long time, but the Jazz Orgy, right?
I think it's 7 or 8 years. It's been a while, which is great. They're Wednesday night jazz. Yeah. It's a fun thing. Wednesday's a good night for jazz. Yeah. And we do it early because it's a school night. So we're 7 to 9 for jazz, and it's a simple thing.
For sure. Is that picking back up again, or?
Soon.
Yeah.
We're going to roll into it without telling much people we're doing it, because that's the way to keep it mellow to start with. Yep. But it's coming back very soon.
Yeah, I'm just excited for all the businesses and restaurants,
it's
especially
amazing, and
with the way that things are
in
coming
fact, things
together.
happening right now. It's just remarkable. The whole thing is amazing.
Yeah, we have 2 great facilities right in our backyard here, over at the university, and over at Sunnyview.
Yep.
And you did mention something too about Hometown Pharmacy.
They've been out and about doing shots and doing a great job. You're going to see it from lots of places as well, but it's remarkable how many places are really doing everything they can to get all the shots to all the people right now.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's good. And then you opened up Skis.
Yep. Now Wagner Market.
Yep. I will always remember your anniversary date because it's on my birthday.
Awesome.
10/22.
Yep.
But that's been open now for how many years now?
It's 6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yep.
I love that store.
So do we. It's a ton of fun. I mean, it's hard to describe. I mean, that it's a grocery store downtown, which was the impetus because we think all downtown should have a grocery store. So that's why it was. My wife's background is also in grocery, so she's really good at it.
Yeah.
That's nothing I've ever done. So all the credit to her for making it what it is, because it's not an easy thing to do. It's a really, really hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's kind of been, and you can relate to some of this, and this will be a long, boring discussion for some people, but for me personally, restaurants are a little hard because, I mean, you know what's in every dish here.
Yep.
And you know why it's in every dish here.
Yeah.
And you know what makes that important, and you choose things the same way we do. You make those choices very succinctly and on purpose, right?
Yep.
But you don't want to tell everybody who comes in here on Friday night what's in everything and why you chose it, because that's not why they're here. They're here to have a good time, right?
Yep.
So it's hard to have that relation. I mean, we're proud of the food we make, but you can't tell every story about every food you make.
Yeah.
That store for me is so much fun because we know why everything is in there, and we've got the time over there to tell you the story, right?
Sure.
Because you're just browsing and shopping, and it's not off-putting, and we're not interrupting your day. You're there to buy stuff.
Yeah.
But we know what everything is, where it came from, and why, and that's so much fun.
Yeah.
So it's just a different mentality from a food customer service basis to be able to tell the story in a different way, and that's so rewarding to me.
Yeah. And I think your setup is pretty nice too, because you have all of your service things on one side. So if anyone needs to turn around and ask a question, you don't have to yell or find anybody, someone's there.
And that was a positive side effect that wasn't intended necessarily. That was based on space. I mean, it's a pretty big room, but all we knew was that we needed the space to do production stuff. So there's lots of meat production and lots of deli production.
Yeah.
And the rest of that, we know we didn't want it to look like a grocery store. We don't want there to be aisles and things and carts, because the intent is that you shop with a basket and you come back often. It's not roll a cart through and buy a week's worth of food. It's not that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that I like the side effect that came from that. I'm glad you think of it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
But our intent was just don't put aisles in. Just let it be a thing where you can walk around naturally and pick what you want.
Yep. You mentioned carts. I mean, you can have a cart in there. If you're Evelyn, right? You remember that picture?
Yes.
Where she's strolling around with a whole bunch of beer.
Yep. Which I still have that baby cart in the basement. But the rest of the carts, I mean, they're 1-foot carts. That's all we have.
Yeah. You have a lot to offer there. Lots of craft beers. Wines,
we're
cheeses.
Up to 700 different types of craft beer on a daily basis. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
That's all. That's the other side of this is, if we get into a little bit of history, co-owner of Beckets is also co-owner there, and that's Chef Mike, who you know well. Yeah. And he is the craft beer guru, so that's his baby is the beer side. It's great.
Nice. You guys have your product in a couple different places around town, right?
More and more all of a sudden, yes.
I've noticed Wagner was over at Revs.
Revs we do burgers for, and maybe just burgers. I can't keep track.
Okay.
But yeah, more and more, as that business has grown, we can do more production stuff and get burgers out. And I think I'm biased, but I think the burgers are awesome because everything we grind there is from the trim of the steaks we're aging and cutting. So,
perfect, yeah.
Yeah, you think you're going to get better ground beef than that?
No.
Probably not.
I'll try that next. I love your pizzas. The frozen pizzas are awesome. And, the cheese on there is, I think, what really makes it for me.
Grande, Wisconsin. You can't do anybody. I mean, it's all Wisconsin cheeses, of course, but Grande is the go-to for Mott's. It just is.
Okay. Yeah. Their headquarters are not too far away, right? I think it's Fond du Lac.
Black-ish, yeah, something like that. And they've been there a gazillion years, and they're the nicest people in the world. It's awesome.
Yeah. What else? So you also, did you help with Winnebago Cycle? Or
I can tell that story better now that Ben has sold it, which is sad and happy because Sean is awesome.
Yeah.
The new they sold recently.
Okay.
But that one, it's hard to tell. I mean, there's no credit due to this, but I love bicycles also. But I don't ride them. Everybody thinks I ride bikes like it's an athletic thing, that I like to build them. I don't like to ride them. So for years I was building bikes as a hobby. It's just a fun hobby. And I got to know this kid at another bike store in town, without mentioning the names. And he was a great mechanic and a super nice guy. And my wife and I both grew up here, and we remember Bikeland, which was a block that way.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And, right. And similar to when we were having discussions about whether Wagner should be there or where it should be, I'm like relentlessly downtown biased, as you know.
Sure.
But we just got in our heads that there should be a downtown bike store, because there should be an LBS in every downtown. There just should be a local bike store. So there's another business in that first floor. This is pre-Wagner, so Winnebago's been there longer than that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep. So we negotiated with that business to downsize, and we gained some space, and we contacted Ben and said, look, we will build this. You should own a bike store. Can you come do it? And he agreed, and that's kind of how it went.
Nice.
So all the credit goes to Ben, but we just thought it should be great. And he couldn't have been a better first owner. And how old do you think? He's going to watch this and yell at me for saying that. How old do you think Ben was when he opened that store?
20-something,
22.
Right? Yeah.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
But he killed it, and it's fantastic. And it'll be there forever. And now we have a corner downtown bike store because of those boys, not because of me. It's just it's a good fit.
Yeah, for sure. But is there anything else that you got yourself into business-wise around here?
No, I don't think so.
No? Yeah. You live downtown.
We live downtown.
Do you rent out some of your space there too, above?
There are some apartments in that building, and I live in that building, and then Winnebago, and some art studios on the second floor. So it's a good building, and it's just a cool home base to be in. I'm very pleased. I don't think we'll ever leave.
Sure. Maybe next time we have you back, we can maybe do a little digging on the history of the building.
Oh, that'd be good.
It'd be kind of cool to share.
It's fascinating history for sure.
Maybe we can do some field reporting and do some cheesy videos on site.
Yeah, walk
or
down
whatever.
over. You could do that. Do you have any gear? Do you have any video gear?
I might have a iPhone laying around or something.
Okay, fair enough. Me too. That's better than our cameras at this point, so we might as well just use iPhones.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, no, that's not true. There's some other things, right?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. Like a lot of businesses around here, like we have to be creative and come up with different things, right? Ghost kitchens.
Never heard of it. Never heard of the concept.
No.
I can I can now tell you most of that story.
All right.
Only because it's not meant to be secretive, but it's fun that it's secretive.
Sure.
And now the secret was out with a lot of us from the get-go, because some people recognize if I design a logo
your
or
branding.
if I type shut up. It's not that obvious. It's just because I'm a poor graphic designer. Everything has to be flat and two-dimensional, and I only like a couple fonts. So every time I do something, somebody knows what I've done. But anyway, yes, go ahead. What was the question?
Steph's Curry's.
Yeah, what about it?
Is that your doing?
That's our doing.
Nice. So who has a background in coming up with some of those recipes?
That's the same kitchen people who make your mackerel. I mean,
okay.
I cannot stress enough how lucky we are to have, and you know how it is to find kitchen people sometimes. These boys have all been there for a long time, and they're all unbelievably skilled, and we'll do everything we can to keep them there as long as we can. So, but yeah, as short as the story can be made, Steph's Curry's is an Indian restaurant.
Yep.
And it's actually a restaurant. I mean, it's only online. So if anybody doesn't know, Ghost Concept is a restaurant operating within another restaurant that you can only order online. Typically, there's Eat Street or Uber Eats or something like that that's in the front of it, and that's how you get it. So as a customer, you order online. That driver comes to Beckett's to pick up your curry, and the curry goes to your house.
Yeah.
The concept, I think, is fascinating, as you do too. I mean, it's just a fascinating idea.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about Indian food for ages because I love Indian food.
I was just going to say that.
Everybody loves it. I mean, Indian food is great. So we had tried to do this 18 months before the pandemic started, and we were never able to sit down and look at it and figure out how we could do it and make it work with as busy as Beckett's is. And I remember vividly because it's a day. It's a year. Sorry, this is the year. Yeah. 1 year ago, we got shut down, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So within a day, we realized that, look, this was the right time to do a ghost kitchen of curry if we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, we were up and running in 2 days. So I think by March 19th or March 20th, we were selling curry last year, which is great.
Yeah, perfect.
And we just found a way. Oh, geez, I ruined the whole thing.
Start it over.
Yep. But no, we just found a way to make, I mean, it's, if you've ever looked or eaten it, which I thank you if you have, but if you go online and look at the menu, there are 4 items on it. So it's simple. And we found a way to produce it that we can do Beckett's food at the same time. So it's simple.
Yeah.
But it's all scratch. It's made there. I think it's delicious.
Yeah.
it's if you're a curry fan, this is a very British curry, which is, so it's not, it's not off-putting, and there's only 3 things. There's a beef, a chicken, and a veg. And then we make naan over there. So
yeah, perfect.
We've just found a way to make it work, and it's been really fun and really rewarding to do so, and people seem to dig it, which is great.
Yeah, for sure.
And the name is funny, but people still don't get the name. Oh my gosh,
yeah.
You're a basketball fan, so you understand it.
Yeah, there's that one other new commercial out with him about one of the agents had his jersey on, but it showed.
I don't think I've seen this.
It showed the 30, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, it's because they're doing some kind of like 30-day appreciation thing or something along those lines. And he says something like, "Oh, the name on the back's pretty cool too, right?" He's like, "Oh, I didn't notice." And then he gives her a look.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it's funny. Right on. Well, we'll move on to the next segment here after we take a short break. And we'll talk a little bit about Oshkosh, stuff that we're both involved in, and why we both love downtown Oshkosh.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you in a bit. Manila Resto now has delivery exclusively through manilaresto.com. Visit us on our website to place an order or give us a call at 920-230-1082 to place an order for curbside, pickup, or delivery. Place an order anytime between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, and let us bring your Manila Resto favorites to you. Mabuhay! Welcome back. We're here with Kris Larson, episode 7, and we're here to talk about Oshkosh.
Yep, love it.
So, yeah, like I mentioned before, I believe we have a lot of shared interests, and one of them is downtown Oshkosh.
Correct.
So what was, so you live here also, right?
Yep.
Was there any other option for you in terms of where you wanted to live or where you wanted to start your business and stuff in town?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, we were looking at Madison briefly for locations for restaurant, but this won out very quickly.
Yeah.
And we could think a mutual friend, it's fun to name him in person, but I remember vividly coming home when I lived in Madison, coming home for Christmas and holidays. Yeah. And every time I ran into Eric Hoopman, he yelled at me and said, "Look, the thing you do in the world is you go out and you learn a skill and you learn a trade and you come back to your hometown to practice it."
Yeah.
So if you want to blame anybody for my being here, you can blame Hoopman.
All right. Let's bring him on.
Seriously, we should.
Give him a call.
I will.
We're gonna have
him on right now.
We're going to have to start utilizing this sometime and have some fun with it,
It
right?
would be fun.
Just surprise people and like, hey.
Yeah, you're on live-ish.
Yeah. Like, why do you sound different? Right. Because I've messed around with it, and our voices do sound different because we're, being fed through this microphone and stuff. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like you're on the other end of the phone.
Ah, interesting.
So it's kind of fun. I remember earlier on in the days, like if there weren't like zero factors in terms of like if you wanted to start up like a new restaurant concept in town. You mentioned that you would want to do like a French restaurant.
We did talk about this a long time ago.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is that still something you think would be kind of cool, or no?
Nope,
not anymore.
I don't think it would have been cool then either necessarily. That was just that question comes up a lot. Do you get the same question to a degree? I mean, this is a little different because this is very personal to you, and it's in a great way because this is the thing we need is this kind of thing here. Yeah. And I couldn't do this. Same way I couldn't do that. That's why it was kind of a joke at the time. Mm-hmm. But I would have failed at the restaurant had I not taken into account what my community wanted to some degree and pushed it a little bit. I mean, when the question comes up, it's like, yeah, I would have opened a tiny French restaurant. I put all white tile everywhere, subway tile. Everything was white and stainless steel. And nobody would have come.
Sure.
Because nobody would have come. So, I mean, it's sort of a restaurant joke in the back end. But that's the reason Beckets is what it is and looks like it is because of what's around it, not because of what I want. It's not about me.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about, expanding and like maybe franchising your model over at Beckett's somewhere else or no?
Not restaurant-wise, I don't think so. I think, there may be something else, brick and mortar someday, and it'll be not along the French lines, but being one of the things that I think you'd agree, one of the things restaurant-wise that we don't really have in this community yet is something on the higher end. I mean, TJ's is wonderful, and I love going there. The food is fantastic. Yeah. But something along those lines downtown I still think would work. Yeah. So smaller, more special, for lack of a better word.
For sure.
But just a culinary-focused more expensive experience, I think, is on the horizon someday.
Yeah.
For me or for somebody, it'll happen eventually.
Yeah. No, I was speaking with one of our guests one time, and they were coming to pick up, their takeout order or whatever. And, they ask a question like, oh, have you thought about, expanding and going somewhere else and stuff? Yep. And he's like, well, I told him, yeah, we always, have that in mind.
Yeah.
But then he also brought up a good point too about how it's kind of hard to capture that same magic of like your OG restaurant, if you will,
It is for sure. And I think, Manila is a good example, same as Beckets is. That really is tailored to where it is and what it does and how it fits in its community. Same way this is. That would be hard to replicate with the same name. Mm-hmm. A different concept, sure, because we both have systems that we think work in this industry.
Yeah.
And that's applicable in a whole bunch of different ways.
Yep.
But I don't think there'd be another Beckett's anywhere. It's just not that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, especially with the story behind it too, right?
To a degree, but nobody cares necessarily what anything's called either. So,
well, I do. I care.
Well, so do I, and I appreciate it.
Right on. Well, we got to know each other a little bit better too over the years because we both serve on the Downtown Oshkosh BID Board, right?
Yep, sure do.
So for those of you who don't know what BID stands for, it's the Business Improvement District. So there are lines here drawn within the downtown area where business owners, or is it? No, it's just property owners.
Property owners pay in, yes.
Yeah, pay in a certain amount of taxes during tax season and stuff, which goes towards paying our bid manager and other bid-sponsored events, right?
Yeah, beautification, recruitment, all kinds of good stuff, grants.
So you see all the pretty flower pots and stuff out there and all the decorations and even plowing the parking lots and stuff, right? Are we responsible for that, or is it the city?
Yet. We'd like to be maybe someday, hint, hint, everybody who's watching.
That's a very...
That's a contentious subject.
It's been going on for years.
Yep. But no, in general, it's great. That's why we both would think downtown looks great, and that's a big tribute as to why. Mm-hmm. And bid districts in general are important for recruiting people to those areas, and those areas tend to be the hearts of cities like ours is. So the work we do and the money that goes towards this is good for the entire city in that respect. Yeah.
How long have you been on the board now?
I think it's 12 years, 13 years, as long as the restaurant's been there almost. So it was on almost immediately.
I think you're getting close. I got my 5-year plaque, which is pretty cool.
Congratulations.
Hey. I think it was 2019.
So you're 7 years, probably.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
You can't ever get off that one.
I know, right?
It's terrible.
So whenever they ask you, hey, do you want to re-up? Like,
yeah, you have no choice. They shame you into it.
Or you have to make sure you're there to defend yourself.
Correct.
Otherwise everyone's like, oh, yeah.
Yep. He'll do it. That's how I got you on the Wisconsin Restaurant Association board, right?
Yeah.
It came up and I just said, oh, yeah, Marlo will do that.
Yeah, that's another one.
You weren't even there.
No, that's pretty cool, too. Because, just like when you are a part of like those kind of boards, like you get the information first.
Yeah, and you get to help drive the decisions, which is important.
Yep.
You explain what it is first before we dig into this. Go ahead.
So WRA, Wisconsin Restaurant Association, is a group of basically restaurant owners.
For the most part.
And people like restaurant...
affiliated industry folks to a degree.
Yeah,
yes.
Like people that are just in the industry and support the restaurateurs and businesses alike, So they provide a lot of resources when it comes to anything.
Yep, owning, operating, and then advocating for the industry at a state level and national level. It's important stuff.
Yep. So they do represent us in all aspects, and they definitely take our feedback.
Yeah, and you represent them, and you represent yourself, and you represent your neighborhood in that forum, which is a state forum, and that's important. That's why I'm pleased you're on that board with me.
Yeah.
Not that we're fighting against other factions of the state, but it is good to have lots of representation from the Fox Valley, which is where we are. So it's good that we're doing it.
Yeah. Steve Davis is another one.
I was going to say, you're following the footsteps of people who helped pave that way for the Fox Valley being important on the restaurant scene on a state level. So, yeah, Steve Davis.
Yeah.
Ada.
Yes.
Linda Wendt.
Okay.
And then, Paul Cunningham and Fond du Lac.
Yeah.
Lots of people. There's been good representation at the state level for restaurants in this neighborhood for a long time, but it's important that you're doing it. So thanks for doing it.
Hey, thanks for asking me, man.
I twisted your arm into it a little bit.
Yeah. It's kind of the same way with the bid board.
Did I do that too? Sorry.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe Megan talked, but Megan was the one responsible for that.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I came in there for some kind of garbage thing, and then Megan was like, "Oh, hey, there's a
if you care about garbage, we've got a place for you."
Yeah, you want to talk about garbage every week? Let's go, or every month. That's funny. There's always one thing on any board's like agenda that just always carries over.
Yep, you have to have one.
One of them for the longest time was the whole bike sharing thing, right? Mm-hmm. I hope we can bring that back. It hasn't been on there in a while, but
do it. You're on the board. You bring it back.
Also want to bring it back because I want to see that happen.
Agreed. Well, then let's just do it.
Okay.
All right.
On other agenda items.
Yep.
I'll fire an email here afterwards.
Sounds like a plan. I'll back you up.
Well, that's a nice little segue into slow roll.
Yeah.
Were you behind that too?
That's Winnebago Bicycle. This is going to be a whole bunch of people we just talked about. So Winnebago Bicycle, Megan Lang, who we just talked about from the BID, and us at Wagner and Beckett. So and this is year 6.
6
I just
already?
checked. It's crazy.
That's great.
Yep.
So for those of you who don't know what slow roll is, it's during the warmer months here in Wisconsin. Right? The first one starts in May.
May through October.
October.
6 of them plus a holiday one. So 7 months worth.
So a different location is chosen for each one of them to highlight, the businesses or whatever, or like a landmark that we want to go check out, or even bike through like a neighborhood, people may not have known about.
That's been the coolest part. Keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, usually if like we've had it here once, we can meet up here before, grab a drink, appetizers, or do it afterwards, so. And how long of a bike ride is it usually?
5 miles at 5 miles per hour. So it's about a 1 mile bike ride, slow, so you can talk and hang out and look at where you are and check out the surroundings. And
for the most part, traffic will let us do whatever.
For the most part, that's as it grows, that's the challenge for sure. And we're getting better at it. Auxiliary police have been helping, and it's wonderful. So
it's strength in numbers too, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we do try really hard to follow traffic rules.
Yeah,
it's a little hard with a group as big as it is, and we to qualify. I mean, we didn't do it at all in 2020, of course, but the biggest numbers were in 2019, and the biggest ride I think was 315 bicyclists.
That's
crazy.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it's a little bit difficult to take 300 people on a bike ride, but we make it work.
No, that's cool. I think people like myself. I mean, we believe that you're behind a lot of these things, which you are. But you're also a big advocate of all things Oshkosh, right? So you heavily promote it on your personal page, and
you do the same thing. There are lots of people who do that. So it's not about either one of us being involved in anything. It's about the end result, and that's all that counts.
For sure. One of the stops for the slow roll, Blues on the Bay?
Yeah.
Or Brews.
Brews on the Bay.
Brews, yeah. That's something new.
That is something new.
Can you share a little bit about that?
I'm out of class a little bit because it's not my project, but I've been given permission to tell people about it to a degree.
Sweet.
So Oshkosh Parks Department, this was supposed to happen last year, and it didn't get to happen. So everybody should be familiar with the concept of an actual traditional beer garden. It happens a lot in parks.
Yeah.
And there's one coming to Menominee Park starting this June, I think. You'd have to check the website to find out when exactly.
Sweet.
A traditional beer garden right where the train is. Use the pavilion.
Yeah.
Local beer, live music, Wednesday nights. It's going to be awesome. And there's a slow roll bonus this year at the Menominee Park Brews on the Bay.
Okay.
So we'll have a bonus Wednesday night ride from Menominee Park.
Sweet. So every Wednesday.
I don't know how frequently.
Okay.
Like I said, not my.
But on a Wednesday.
I know about it. I know it's happening because of the slow roll affiliation, and because I know what band is playing at the one that the slow roll is happening at.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, we'll be sure to share that on our page too.
Everybody's going to know about that. That should be a big deal because that's something that we're behind on doing it, but conceptually that's a great fit for where it is, and we probably should have done that a while ago.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna get into a little bit of a hot seat here.
Hot seat. All right.
Why
ready?
Not? You are getting yourself, or you have gotten yourself into.
I'm into it. Yes.
Yeah, into the running for mayor. Of Oshkosh.
Yep.
So what spurred your thinking and decision behind that?
It's a good point in the podcast to ask that question because we sort of covered why. I mean, I care a lot and I'm involved in a lot of things, and this was just the right natural timing for that to happen because the impetus in general is, you didn't ask the question, but I'm going to jump right into it because I'm a politician now.
Yeah.
The impetus in general for me is a focus on sort of refining and reinforcing the form of government we have, which is this mayor council thing.
Sure.
whereas you as a citizen can tell the council people something and they relay that message to the city manager. Essentially, that's how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
That's on account of cost efficiencies. Mark Roloff does a good job. So I feel like we've gotten a little bit away from being efficient at that process. And that's essentially what I'm running on, is making that work better.
Right on.
Now, there's other stuff in there as well. But the timing was just right for me to do this at this point, because it's a lot of what goes with that for me is affecting change in general and getting more people involved in that process, both by voting more, so please vote, and running for office more, like I'll ask you next time, because you're due, you're in the same, I mean,
sure,
the reasoning is the same. So this was just the right time to do that, because you're going to see a lot of new people on that day, no matter what happens, and that's good. It's all good stuff.
No, that's cool. And you have a very cool, different approach in terms of like campaigning and stuff, because you're not accepting money,
not accepting nor spending money, either one. So no donations, and I'm not spending any personally.
Completely organic and just word of mouth and letting people.
If it doesn't work, that'll probably be why, or because people don't like me. But either way is fine. But my point in doing that is I'm not kidding when I say I do want you to run for office at some point, Marlo, because I think you'd be great at it. And because I'm as involved as I am in many other things, I'm probably going to ask you that question at some point in time. And I can't, in good faith, ask you to run for city council and then say, oh, by the way, I spent $8,000 on yard signs and newspaper ads, and you have to expect to do the same, or you have to ask people for $8,000. That doesn't sit very well with me. So that's why there's no money involved. It's just so that we can keep doing it the right way in the future, I hope.
No, it's cool, because it also creates awareness about like people just being aware of who their candidates are, and and just voting in general on the local level, because if you really want to be a part of change, like locally is where you need to start.
It's the quickest pace of change for certain. And it's people and it's your literal neighborhoods that are affected by these decisions. So it's important for that reason.
Yeah, too many times, you see people just complaining about this and that or whatever. Like, well, okay, like you have the right to sit there and complain, but do you have a solution? Do you want to be a part of the solution? Do you want to go out and do something about it?
Yeah, it's fine to complain, but broad stroke, we should be better at fielding those complaints too. I mean, that's part of it. The notion of direct democracy and city council manager process really is important. And I mean, you should be able to ask anybody on council anything, any given point in time, and get that message relayed the right way. That's literally the job. That's it.
And
so go ahead. And
as we talked about it with John or Josh, what's his name?
Josh Dremel.
Dremel.
Yep. Josh Dremel.
Like more times, people just get all huffy puffy about, what they're trying to say. And then it becomes personal. It doesn't have to get to that point. They just stick to the message, to the reason why, or whatever you're trying to figure out, and have the, mutual respect just to have a conversation with somebody, even if their end is different. You know what I mean? Because we're all different people.
Yeah, and that gets harder these days. Another part of what my position has been is this is the last bastion of nonpartisan politics in the world is municipal government, for the most part. I mean, at least in cities this size. Yeah. Sometimes we're good at it. Sometimes we're bad at it. Currently, we're kind of bad at it because there are some different, if you watch council meetings, like I know everybody here watches all of them like I do, right? All the way through every time. But there are some, there's no offense in any of this, but there are some differing opinions that drive decisions that have nothing to do with the decisions being made, and that's not fair to you, because you shouldn't have to put up with that. You shouldn't. This should be about making the right choice for the people who you represent, not what you believe in the other voting ballot box in November. It has nothing to do with that.
For sure. So when you put yourself down as a candidate, are you considered an independent?
By definition, by technical definition, this is if you go anywhere online and look, or if you look at what the ballot says, this is explicitly a nonpartisan election in April in Wisconsin, period. Yeah. So there are, the question keeps coming up, and how long do we have left? What does this say?
Well, we got time.
Okay, well, the question keeps coming up because, parties do get involved, and people get endorsed by things that are party-driven, and that's not good, in my opinion. Not that endorsements are good or bad, and the candidates sometimes don't have any control over who endorses them or says anything about them. Yeah. But that really is part of the problem. It just is. Yeah. And you're asking the question is awesome, but you shouldn't have to ask the question. That should be inherent in the first place.
For sure.
So someday we'll get back to fixing that. Maybe it's not now, and maybe I help, but don't get all the way there. Yeah. But still, that is, if you ask me on the street, that is one of the biggest reasons things don't get accomplished at a municipal level, both here and other cities, I'm sure, is because partisan politics get involved in it. And that's not what we're talking about. Your sidewalk isn't partisan. It has nothing to do with it. You want your sidewalk fixed in the right manner, and you want to pay the right price for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be nice if we can get it, sometime in our lifetime, on the big federal level, we can have that third party sneak in there somewhere.
It'll happen at some point. It has to, I think.
It's gaining traction.
It is.
And it's, how long, it takes a lot of sacrifice and time and efforts for people to believe in that cause and to see it through,
Yeah.
Especially with the way that the system's set up right now.
It's a strange thing. Yeah. It could be here all day.
But we'll get there. Anything else you want to share with the listeners?
For campaign-wise?
Yeah.
VoteOshkosh.com.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Is campaign website.
Yeah.
Lots of information there. My intent with that, and I'll take your help afterwards, again, whether elected or not elected, is that Vote Oshkosh remain as a resource for getting out the vote, which is important.
Yeah.
And then for having, I don't even care if they're civil or civil is not the right way to put it, but having totally objective conversations about things that are happening at that level.
For sure.
Because that's what else we're missing at some point in time. We got to check the time again, but
no, all good.
there are opportunities, I think, across the board for all of us to understand better what these issues are. And there are very few resources that are completely unbiased within those discussions right now. So that it's not going to be a newspaper or a news outlet by any means.
Yeah.
But I cannot tell you how, for example's sake, you ready for a fun one?
Sure.
I cannot tell you how many conversations I had when the county was, it's a hot topic, ready?
Yep.
When the county was talking about a mask mandate if the Wisconsin mandate goes away.
Yeah.
And I cannot tell you how many conversations I had explaining to people that, look, no, that doesn't mean Doug Guerin is coming into your house to arrest you. Because it explicitly says that in the paper. But the word gets out in the wrong way. And then, how many times did you hear that the health department was coming to your house?
Right.
Everybody heard that.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't true. And that made the discussion a lot harder than it could have been. So hopefully there's room for something like that after the fact that can just be, and I'm not going to win hearts or minds or try and convince you of anything.
Sure.
But somebody should have been able to say, look, here's the document. Here's where it says they're not coming into your house.
Yeah.
And then that would have been a simpler discussion. We all could have moved on with our lives more quickly.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's cool. Like that.
I don't think that's cool. I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding.
The site is cool in terms of being able to share that awareness and stuff. It would be a good thing to have.
Yes.
Is anyone welcome to be on that platform?
At current, that's just me, Bill Miller, and Courtney Hansen, and was Noah Henricks, and that served as the campaign headquarter website for all those because most of those were non-money campaigns.
Sure. Yep.
And that was just a way for us to have a platform that was collective.
Okay.
Not necessarily an endorsement, but that is to get really all the way into the discussion. There's an affiliation with those three people and me because they're all small business owners. Well, Bill Miller's a giant business owner, but in a good way.
Yeah.
So there's some want and need of small business representation on council, and that's why there's an affiliation there for the time being.
Okay.
Going forward, that may be a place where there are recommendations, or it's just a clearinghouse for all the information that's out there.
Gotcha.
So at current, it's a little bit specific as far as candidates go, but that's not the intent going forward.
Right on. Cool. Well, best of luck to you. It's coming up pretty quick.
April 6th.
Yeah, just a couple of weeks, right? Right on.
The tagline is that vote for whomever you want. Just make sure you vote.
Yeah, just get out, man.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the Oshkosh Jazz Festival.
Yes, that's fun too.
We're all about bringing some cool events here in Oshkosh, and I believe this will be definitely like an annual thing, right?
This is definitely going to be an annual thing, and it's looking to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. I'm glad that we have you on because I think you're one of the first people to be on here that's involved with it in some capacity, right?
Yeah. Well, I think so. It's me and Aaron Boehm and Kerry Sharp and Underwood and Shipe, and it's a good group of people doing it. So.
Yeah. I was looking at having Underwood and Shipe on the show last week.
You should.
But some kid drove.
I saw this car. Can we talk about that live? We can talk about that in the real world yet or no?
Sure.
Go for it.
I don't know. Well, sorry, Wood. But
yep, sorry, Wood is right. I saw pictures and forgot to mention it.
Gives us something to talk about when you come back on. But
so explain what happened. What happened to Wood's house?
A car went into his living room.
He drove a car into his living room.
But thankfully, nobody was in there, and all their little fur babies are fine. So hey,
crazy story though.
Everyone just walked away just fine.
They're good pictures.
Yeah.
You should. If you could superimpose pictures on this with a little box of the.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. Like I'll pop it up right here.
Bing.
But yeah, all great people that want to see great things here in Oshkosh. Yep. August, is it a one-day thing this year?
One-day thing this year, 28th. Okay.
August 28th.
Downtown Oshkosh, somewhere. Specific location pending.
Okay.
Downtown Oshkosh.
All-day thing?
Roughly, let's call it noon to 7 or 8 p.m.
That's a good time.
Yep.
Especially in the summer.
Because afterwards, you know about some of this already, but you are expected to host jazz afterwards.
All right.
Because this will be followed by a jazz walk downtown. So every venue downtown will have jazz that follows that. So we want to wrap it
jazz.
Up. Oh, it's going to be jazz.
Jazz in your face.
Yep. Super jazzy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be great. OshkoshJazz.com.
Okay.
Lineup is mostly up. Will be more up in a minute, but this is big national headliners, which is fantastic.
That's awesome.
Joe Piscopo's the MC, for crying out loud.
Awesome. Are you going to get up there and say a few words too, or?
I don't know if I will. I mean, look at the other people you have involved on this committee. If you want qualified musicians to be on stage that day, I'm like the bottom of that list.
No, it's great. Yeah, looking forward to it.
It'll be a ton of fun.
Have you guys scouted or thought about any locations yet?
Yeah, but I can't tell you yet.
Okay.
Somewhere downtown.
Gotcha.
Final details coming soon, but definitely within a 3-block radius of where we're sitting.
Right on. Well, I guess I'll have to get on the horn and find someone to be here.
It's going to, you should probably book that act pretty quickly because it's going to be everywhere,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Looking forward to it.
Same. It's going to be great.
Well, we're going to wrap things up here with Manila Beat, talk about Walton Beckett again and how he has structures both here in Oshkosh and in the city of Manila in the Philippines. And, we'll dig into how instrumental Kris was and has been throughout the process here at Manila. You may not think it, but
I forgot.
I can give him some kudos for that. So, but yeah, we'll show you the specials for the month here, and we'll be right back.
Sweet.
Hi, it's Sarah with Manila Resto, and I'm here to tell you about our monthly specials for March. First, we have our drink special, Irish Waters. It's time to get festive with our Irish Waters, featuring blue carousel, pineapple juice, Jameson, and sour mix. Find yourself taking in the sights and sounds with this drink special. Our sushi special this month will be the Sushi Bake. Chef Ninoy keeps up with a new Asian sushi trend and brings the Sushi Bake to you. The Sushi Bake begins with a layer of sushi rice, then followed with your choice of freshly diced salmon, red tuna, or white tuna, mixed with spicy mayo. Then to top things off, we add fresh avocado, cucumber, sesame seeds, eel sauce, and spicy mayo. The Sushi Bake is then put in the oven and baked, served with nori sheets for you to scoop up all that goodness. Our Filipino special this month is the pork belly curry. We take our classic curry recipe and combine it with our hearty deep-fried pork belly. The pork belly curry is served with potatoes, carrots, and bell peppers. Want to make it spicy? No problem. We can make it hot just for you. See you at Manila Resto soon. Mabuhay!
I never know if I'm in the frame.
Oh, I am. You're good.
Okay, good.
I'll tell you otherwise.
All right, good. That's right. Only you can see it.
Yeah.
Producer's rights.
Yeah. Pretty soon. I know Danny and I were talking about coming up with some new sound bits or whatever to be like, okay, boom.
Yeah, exactly.
Set us in the mood too. Be like, oh, we're in the Manila Beat, right?
You need graphics and
Yep. But baby steps.
Yep.
But it's always cool to see the progress of your projects that you get involved in, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about early days of Manila, which were actually the early days of how we met.
Yep.
I remember when Pandora's Groove was playing a gig over at what do you call it? City Center? Or Center Court?
Atrium.
Yep. And we were setting up and stuff like that. And I think Wood was introducing people, and he's like, oh, hey, Marla's opening up a restaurant. And then
people know you were in an awesome band, right? Or still are in an awesome band? You just brush over the fact that the super awesome rock band I was in was playing this gig. You just skip that part? Nobody cares?
Yeah. No, everyone knows who Pandora's Groove is, right?
I was just going to say, comment below if you're no, just kidding.
Yeah. No, it's been a minute, though, since we played together, maybe 2 years. But, yeah, that's kind of, I think, what started the whole conversation a little bit about the whole restaurant thing,
That would make sense.
No, you've been a big help and continue to be a big help whenever I need to ask somebody a certain question.
At this point, for sure, but still.
Yeah. I remember when we were talking about the layout of the restaurant and everything like that.
I was thinking about that last night.
Chet, a mutual friend of ours, invited you to come over too. And we were looking at, where would be a good spot for the sushi bar and Rabata grill and all that kind of stuff. And that's where it is now, so.
So I told you the right thing?
Yeah.
Or it's still wrong to the day?
No, it works. But since
could have been better, but
it could have been better. But I mean, we haven't used it yet because we're not fully open to full capacity here inside. But since the shutdown, because we were only open out for curbside and delivery at that time.
That's the new word. You have to call it curbside.
Right?
Yep.
We just moved the sushi display case and back, and it's been a lot more efficient and stuff in terms of cross-training people. You know how it is.
Yep.
It's nice to have people cross-trained to just hop around and do whatever.
Yep.
But, yeah, you also introduced us to Buy Right.
That's true.
Big shout-out to Joe and Janet.
Hi, Joe and Janet.
We'll have to have them on sometime.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah.
That would go on for a long time. They have a lot to say.
Yeah, for
Smart
sure.
people.
But just a brief introduction to what they do. They basically support independents like, Beckett's, Manila. I can't think of anyone else who's on it around here. I'm sure there are. Yep. But, if you picture like McDonald's, per se, like they have purchasing power because they're such a huge conglomerate, right?
Yep.
Whereas, Buy Right takes a whole bunch of independents and puts them into a big giant pool, and then we have that purchasing power then too. So
they help represent us as a group, and we get not different or better pricing, but better representation with companies that we all need collectively.
Yeah, for sure.
It works out great,
and it makes it easy on our end, right? Because they take a lot of the headache out.
It's one less thing to worry about. If you have an issue, they call instead of you calling, and that's the best part.
Yeah, it's nice to have them go to bat for us, right?
Yep, very much so, and they're good at it.
Yeah. I also remember too when we were trying to petition for our head chef to come here. Like you were a very nice letter.
That's right.
But then after consulting with an immigration lawyer and stuff like that, I guess it didn't really matter.
It should have, but still, not my letter should have mattered. It should have been here regardless. But still,
your letter did mean a lot.
I'm glad it meant a lot. But once again, I failed you again. I feel what you're getting at here is I failed you at every turn.
So we're here to talk about that. No.
Yes.
The next time.
Oh.
No, but people don't say it enough, but I just wanted you to know that I really appreciate, all the things that you do for me, for us, the restaurant, everyone in the community, like you're a big part of it.
Well, right back at you. I mean, this is, you and I both think of restaurants in general in the same way, and we're better because you're here and vice versa. I mean, that's how this works.
Yeah.
I want all the cool restaurants right next to mine.
Yep.
And I know you feel the same way. So
yeah.
We're way better by you being here. So thank you.
Hey, thank you. I remember like those were the same words like you mentioned to me when we first had these discussions, and it was really refreshing to hear that because
it's not competition. It's not. I mean, you want the same thing I want in that respect. Not to interrupt you, but what you want is somebody at home going, "We should go out to dinner." Right?
Yep.
That's your first step.
Yeah.
The next step is you want them saying, "We should go to Manila for dinner."
Mm-hmm.
But what you want that's even better than that is we want people saying, "We should go downtown Oshkosh for dinner," and figure out where we're going once we get there.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yep. And, just to echo some of our previous conversations, like, I think that's the great thing about this community.
Agreed.
We all talk, like, we're all willing to help each other out. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, that's just the wonderful thing because, this being my first, business, I was a little hesitant to ask, certain people, like what their thoughts
Everybody
were or whatever.
But, it should be the way we did that, and we should keep it up. And we are. We do it all the time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now a mutual thing that kind of ties us together a little bit is Welton Beckett again. So do you know a little bit of his backstory?
Some, yes.
Yeah.
At least in the States, not where you're going, but yes.
But he was one of the more or most popular architects.
The biggest firm in the world at the time that Park Plaza was built. So yes, one of the top 2 or 3, probably in renown at the time as well.
Sure. I forgot to mention this back in Oshkosh, but whatever, it all ties together. That mall was built here to kind of spur development back into the downtown areas, right?
Correct.
And there were other projects and stuff that were going on around the states to kind of revitalize these areas.
Yep.
Because the whole suburban boom was huge, right? So things were moving along like here, like, towards the highway and all that. And this was, a cornerstone for a while.
For sure.
Right? It housed...
almost 20 years, I bet. 15, 20 years.
Yeah. It housed, major department stores.
All of them.
And then in the strip inside had the smaller, shops and stuff.
Yep.
It stinks. I wish we still had that.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the few, this is another longer conversation, but this is one of the few former malls that has been returned to something viable. I mean, that building is 80% occupied most of the time, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Most things that were malls that weren't malls anymore,
they're just gone.
Sit there empty or get torn down, and it's a bummer. So
yeah,
this might be best and highest use all the way around, because shopping, I'm of the opinion that the shopping that we have downtown Oshkosh is the right type at current. I mean, smaller things like that.
Yep.
Department stores in a downtown setting are going to be hard, I think, for a long time. Very few cities have that.
Yeah.
But what this does, and I think we were just talking about for imprint, not for imprint, but that's thousands of employees in your downtown every day. So by getting people in the right place is probably more important than having prangies in the right place. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's, in my opinion, it's probably the best use at current, and we're just lucky that it turned out that way. It's a good thing. Yeah. So that was a segue. Sorry.
No. Sorry. I need more coffee, I guess.
That time of the day.
Yeah. But yeah, one of the trivia questions that we threw out there before when we did Trivia Tuesdays, maybe we should bring that back, but we posted a picture of a building structure that was built in Manila, and it's known as the Manila Highlight Building, which is awesome. If you can find some pictures online, maybe we'll share one here. I don't know. I'm still digging into the whole copyright rights and all that kind of stuff. But
do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll and then ask for forgiveness later, right? I'll read a little excerpt here that's from Wikipedia. What would we do without Wikipedia, right? The Manila Highlight Building was a building designed by American architects Welton Beckett and Walter Werdeman.
No idea.
That functioned as a building for which highlight games were held. It was built in the streamlined modern style in 1940 and survived the Battle of Manila. So during World Wars, it was considered as the finest Art Deco building in Asia until its demolition. It was demolished in 2000 upon the orders of Mayor of Manila, excuse me, Lito Atienza, amidst protests to make way for Manila Hall of Justice, which was never built.
Bummer.
That's kind of how all sad stories end, right?
It happens a lot.
It's like, okay, we need to demolish this because we need to put something else here. Yep. And then nothing happens, right?
Nope.
I don't know if you've seen the pictures inside, but I think you're familiar with how they're set up, and it's cool. It's a sport that's played with like these, I don't even know what you call it.
But you're big cone thing, a tiny ball. It's crazy.
Yeah, but you're chucking it against the wall, and then the other person catches it.
Yep, and throws it again, I believe.
So it's kind of like racquetball with big, gigantic, hard. And
we should start a highlight club here.
Let's do it. Let's build it downtown.
Sounds dangerous.
Maybe we can do that at a Loma Club.
That'd be fun.
The guests won't mind.
No,
right?
not one
Just
bit.
hearing all that stuff banging against the wall on the ground.
Right.
But yeah, if you guys can look up that picture, it's a great looking structure. And we just like any built or like city or whatever, there are lots of cool structures, and thankfully we have a few left around here, right?
For sure, more than most, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So what are your people are dying to know? Yeah. What are your go-tos here at Manila?
Oh my God, I don't. You tell me. I ordered. It's chicken.
Yeah.
What did we all eat?
Oh, is the Filipino barbecue chicken.
It was the best thing I've had here ever, and it's not on the menu all the time, is it?
It is.
Is it? Good.
We're in the process of redoing it.
That's my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
And my staff and everybody else who works with it. I mean, that's the thing.
Good. We posted a little short video with just some pictures moving around. At the time we were like, oh, well, you can turn this into that.
Yep. I know.
So, yes, it worked.
Yep.
Perfect. So it's fun. Like when I hear you like saying, oh, your pictures look great, I want to order that, and then vice versa, right?
That's how it's supposed to work. Again,
yeah,
it's the fun of the game.
Yeah. Okay, back to Oshkosh a little bit, and because it's St. Patrick's Day, I forgot to mention this before. Do you remember? Were you old enough to remember like the riots and stuff that that took place?
Nope.
No.
And I'm older than you, so you don't either, do you? Or do you?
No. I did a little bit of research and stuff about the history of Kelly's, and because I remember when I went to school here at Oshkosh, they intentionally made spring break over St. Patrick's Day.
This is the only part of that story I ever knew. Also, is that their spring break was so that you wouldn't riot. Thanks for ruining that for us, Marlo.
Oshkosh Beer Blog, I think
they would know.
Yeah, they mentioned something on their blog, on their website, on how it all started. It was actually March 16th, 1974 was when people were just all over here on the Wisconsin Strip. Okay. They called it the Strip at the time. So there were a lot more bars at that point.
In that neighborhood, yes, as I understand it.
So there was like a whole bunch of people just waiting to get into the bars that were already filled. Mm-hmm. So what do drunk people do? They just
burn couches,
just demolish cars or whatever. And I think a few officers were injured.
Not good.
No. But Kelly's was then purchased. It wasn't Kelly's then. Okay. But they intentionally named it Kelly's to kind of have that Irish like theme.
Fun.
So that time next year, the bar was open, rebranded as Kelly's.
Yep.
And at that point, I think they were still, Oshkosh was still like the hot spot to come like during St. Patrick's Day.
And riot or just to come?
No.
Okay.
The police
were riot city.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not after that one time.
Only once.
Only once. And the police kind of got things on lockdown. But yeah, it's not. Oshkosh really isn't that hot spot anymore.
Thankfully, that's a good thing.
Yeah. But I know Dublin's has some cool stuff over St. Patrick's Day.
Lots of places is great. Omaro's also.
Omaro's.
Meant to get corned beef and cabbage. There's still probably time for Omaro's, unless you're sold out by now.
I know Parnell's has got a special going on. Everyone's got specials going on. We don't.
We don't either.
Yeah. Not really.
It's just a bummer for the two most Irish guys in the world. We'll tie that back at the beginning.
We should celebrate that. Well, we celebrate it every day, not just one day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But that's cool. I never knew that about Kelly's, and
it is very cool.
Now it's kind of easier to put that into context when like why is Kelly's there, and that really was like the last old structure on that area, if you really think about it.
Probably is, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, St. Patrick's Day no longer a hot spot for Oshkosh, but hey, we have. I know you probably don't want me to mention it, but pub crawl.
I never heard of it.
No, you're right. It's kind of a dying thing anyways. Yep. Right on.
Cool.
Well, thanks a lot for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
We'll have to do this again.
Fun. Anytime.
Yeah. Be good. Enjoy your St. Patrick's Day. Well, I got my green on. You got your green on?
Nope. It's a bummer for an Irish guy.
Yeah.
It's the only joke we got.
Yeah. Right on. Well, thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Our episodes are loaded onto our website, thebarkadapodcast.com. We're looking at getting into other platforms too. So thanks to you that have been taking the time to listen. Also, as an update for the Abbas clan, baby number 3 is not on the way yet. So if you haven't participated, I haven't seen you participate yet. You can get your date in on when you think baby's going to come. So
second I'm done.
Then you get a little gift card from Manila. So
on it.
But yeah, we'll be looking forward to sharing that news. We're expecting her to come soon.
Cool.
Due date's 31st, but we think she'll be here earlier. So yeah, right on.
Cool.
Well, thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you. Thanks, Marlo.